Hi girls, next we are going to see about diodes. Diodes means which is having both positive and negative terminal, then it is called a diode. The symbol for diode we shall see later. And here first we are going to see about PN junction formation. For that you take this crystal. Here one side you are having P type and another side you are having N type, and how the in between the P type and N type there is a junction, and the center line is called PN junction, and how the depletion layer forms across the junction. The junction is nothing but the center layer of the P type and N type material. So formation of a depletion layer. Depletion layer means, and in this diagram this violet region and orange region is called a depletion region. Depletion region is like a door which block the passage of further electrons and holes across the junction. So here N type is having electrons and P type is having holes. So the depletion layer is in between the P type and N type layer, and how this depletion layer forms we shall see. And the center line is usually called junction. So here a single piece of semiconductor crystal is suitably doped such that it one side is P type semiconductor and the other is N type semiconductor. And here N type you are having the majority number of electrons, and in P type you are having majority number of holes. You know the holes are nothing but positively charged, whereas the electrons are negatively charged. And so here when the two junctions are contacted, then what will happen? A PN junction is formed. So the electrons will diffuse from N side to the P side and the holes will from P side to N side. So this diffusion of majority carriers across a junction gives rise to an electric current called diffusion current. So diffusion means the passage. So the passage of majority charge carriers. Majority charge carriers means in N type the electrons are the majority charge carriers, and in the P type the holes are the majority charge carriers. So they pass across the junction, and this gives rise to a current called as diffusion current. So actually what happens near the junction? When the electron leaves the N side in the pentavalent atom, since the electron leaves, it will become a positive ion. So this will recombine with the hole present in the trivalent atom near the junction, and the trivalent atom becomes a negative ion. So when this diagram, you see this diagram, in the P type you are having negative ions, whereas near the N type you are having positive ions, because electrons will leave the N type and so it will become a positive ion, whereas that will recombine with the holes in the P side. So that will become a negative ion. So there will be negative ion near the P junction and positive ion near the N junction. So this process will continue till an equilibrium is reached, and that we shall see now. So the region near the junction which is free from charge carriers, that is free electrons and holes, is called depletion region. So the region near the junction is called depletion region. They mainly consist of ions, so not free electrons and holes. So an electric field is set up because of these positive ions and negative ions, and an electric current is produced due to the motion of minority charge carriers by the electric field is known as a drift current. So because of this depletion region near the junction, an electric current is produced, and this is called diffusion drift current. So always the displacement current and diffusion current, they are opposite in nature. This is the diffusion current which moves from P type to N type, that is conventional direction current, and drift current is from positive ion to negative ion, and you see both of them are opposite in nature, the drift current and the diffusion current. And so here so the electric current produced due to the motion of minority charge carriers by the electric field is known as a drift current, and they are usually in opposite directions. So the process will continue till the drift current becomes equal to the diffusion current, and at equilibrium there is no further electric current, and this is called PN junction formation. So this is how the PN junction is formed. Next we are going to see about junction potential or barrier potential. That is, the movement of charge carriers across the junction takes place only for a particular time. After this, the depletion layer will act as a barrier. Barrier means it is like a door. That is, like a door means it will block the further diffusion of free charges across the junction. So barrier actually means blockage, and so the further movement will stop. So an electron trying to diffuse into the interior of the depletion region encounters a wall of negative ions. Similarly, the further diffusion stops from the p-type also. So here there is a door-like structure is formed in between the p-type and the n-type. So this region is called a depletion region, and we are going to see another important term called a barrier potential. What is barrier potential? So when you give the electric potential difference across a depletion layer, it will keeps on increasing with the crossing of each electron until equilibrium is reached. So there is a particular time after which the internal repulsion will stop, and so the difference in potential across a depletion layer is called barrier potential, and that is called VB. That is, in this diagram you are having negative ions in the p-type and positive ions in the n-type. So these positive ions and negative ions, they set up a potential difference, and this is called barrier potential. And next we are going to see about PN junction diode. So what is a PN junction diode? A PN junction diode is formed when a p-type semiconductor is fused with an n-type semiconductor. So they are kept one type of semiconductor is fused with another type of semiconductor. Such a fusion will result in the formation of a PN junction diode. And the first diagram is schematic representation of a diode, that is a p-type and n-type. The orange portion refers to p-type and the blue portion refers to n-type, and this is called a diode, and this is a symbol for diode. A triangle with a line, and this triangle, the broad side is called p-type, and the line which on the other right hand side is called usually n. So p and n. So the base of the triangle represent positive p-type, and the line on the other side, that is right hand side, will give you the negative type. And so here biasing a diode means you are providing now external energy to the charge carriers to overcome the barrier potential. You know barrier potential, that is a potential that is set up near the junction is called barrier potential. And now we are applying external energy for this. This external voltage applied to the PN junction is called bias voltage. So, and there are two types in this type, forward bias and reverse bias. So what is forward bias? When the positive terminal of the external voltage source is connected to the p-type and the negative terminal to the n-type, it is called forward bias. When you see this diagram, here p-type and n-type, the positive is connected with positive side of the battery. That is, the external voltage is this one. A battery is connected with the positive to positive and negative to negative. Then it is called a forward bias. And in the opposite, if it is connected, then it is called reverse bias. So forward bias means positive is connected with the p side and negative to the n side. And so when this is connected, the electrons in the n side and the holes in the p side moves towards the junction. And initially there will be recombination between the holes and the electrons. And the electrons from n side is now accelerated towards the p side. And so what happens to this barrier? The barrier will reduce in size now. You see, the center region is now in reduced size. The negative ions and the positive ions, they will decrease. The number of this minority charge carriers will decrease. So this results in the movement of electrons in the n side towards the p side, and similarly holes in the p side towards the n side. And actually the depletion layer, the width of the depletion layer will decrease, and also the barrier potential will reduce. So there will be, it is like an opening of door in between the p-type and n-type. So what will happen? The majority charge carriers will begin to move across the junction. So the resulting in an exponential increase in the current through the junction. And what about reverse bias? Reverse bias means Here when you see this diagram, the p-type is connected with negative and n-type is connected with the positive side of the terminal of the battery. Such a bias is called a reverse bias. And so when the positive terminal is connected to the n-type material, here what happens, electrons which are negatively charged are attracted towards the positive terminal of the battery, and the holes are attracted towards the negative terminal of the battery. So here the depletion layer width is increased. When you compare this, here the depletion region is very narrow. Here when you see the depletion region, it is very large in size. So there will be more blockage in between the p-type and the n-type. And so here the majority charge carriers from both the sides experience a great potential barrier across the junction. So a very small current only flows. This small current is also due to the minority charge carriers. So the reverse bias for majority charge carriers serves as the forward bias for minority charge carriers. The minority charge carriers are nothing but the charge carriers near the junction. They are called as minority charge carriers. And here the depletion region is reduced in size, and in the reverse bias the depletion region is very large. So here a reverse saturation current is formed, and this is independent of the applied voltage and depends only on the concentration of thermally generated minority charge carriers. So here even a small voltage is sufficient to drive the minority charge carriers across the junction. And usually the reverse saturation current is represented as IS. And so next we are going to see about the characteristics of junction diode. Here there are two characteristics, forward characteristics and reverse characteristics, and we shall see one by one. Now the PN junction is forward biased. Forward bias means positive to positive and negative to negative, and usually an external resistance is connected to limit the flow of current. You see this is a circuit diagram for forward bias characteristics, and the diode is shown in the red color, and you see the positive is connected with the positive and negative is connected with the positive, and milliammeter is used to measure the current, and here R is the external resistor to adjust the flow of current, and this is a variable voltage supply. You can increase the voltage from 0 to 12 volt, and this portion here having a diode and an external voltage is that is you are connected with the voltmeter to measure the voltage. So this is voltmeter, diode and ammeter, external resistance, and this is power supply. So you are increasing the voltage from step by step. For this you have to draw a graph, and here voltage across x axis and current along y axis. And so slowly increase this voltage supply. Power supply, this is a variable power supply. So you can increase the voltage from 0 to 12 volt, and you see what happens to the current. So the forward bias characteristic is shown in the diagram, and initially the values are 0. And after a certain voltage called knee voltage, there will be sharp increase in the current. So the barrier is now reduced, and so there is increase in the current. So usually this graph is called VI characteristics of the PN junction diode, and see the diode under forward bias, and this is the forward characteristics. And so a very small, a reasonable forward current starts flow across the diode at room temperature. A potential difference equal to the barrier potential is applied. For this threshold voltage or cut-in voltage or knee voltage. So in this diagram, and before starting, that point is called knee voltage. Knee voltage is a voltage in which the current begins to flow, and so will be a sharp increase in the current after this knee voltage. So what is knee voltage? At room temperature, a potential difference equal to the barrier potential is required before the reasonable forward current starts flowing across the diode. This voltage is known as threshold voltage or cut-in voltage or knee voltage. So here the barrier potential is 0.3 volt for germanium and 0.7 volt for silicon. And next, when you see the graph is not linear, it is exponential in nature, and so it does not obey Ohm's law. So only the linear graph will show the obedience of Ohm's law. And so here you can now define what is forward resistance. It is a ratio of a small change in voltage to a small change in current. So RF is equal to delta VF by delta IF. So delta VF means a change in forward voltage and delta IF means change in current. And according to Ohm's law, you know R is equal to V by I, and based on this equation is formed. And so here the diode will behave as a conductor when it is forward biased. So when you forward bias, the diode will act as a conductor. It will begin to conduct the current. And so here the external resistance is usually connected because there will be no destruction of the junction due to overheating. But even if when the applied voltage is increased beyond this rated value, then very large amount of current will flow through the junction and it will destroy the junction. This current is called breakdown current, and the voltage in which the diode breaks down is called breakdown voltage. And usually it is safe to operate a diode between threshold voltage and the breakdown voltage. Threshold voltage is a voltage at which the current begins to increase, and breakdown voltage is a voltage in which there will be complete destruction of the junction due to overheating. So it is safe to operate in between the threshold voltage and the breakdown voltage. Next we are going to see about reverse characteristics, and you know the P side is now connected with the negative terminal and N side is connected with the positive terminal, that is opposite terminals are connected, and a graph is drawn between the voltage and the current, and this will give you the reverse characteristic current of the reverse characteristics of a PN junction diode. And when you see this diagram, here the diode polarities are changed, and this is the microammeter because only a very small current is we are going to measure. So the milliammeter is replaced by microammeter, and this is a variable voltage 0 to 15 volts, and here a voltmeter is connected across the diode to read the voltmeter readings, to read the voltage. And usually the voltage is raised from 0 in step by step, and we are going to measure the current according to this voltage. And so when you see the graph in the reverse bias characteristics, you will get the graph in the third quadrant, and this red line shows that is a saturation current. There is a constant change in the current, that is a constant value in the current. This is called reverse bias current, and up to which certain value reverse breakdown voltage. After this reverse breakdown voltage, there will be enormous current in the circuit. So the reverse current is independent of the voltage up to a certain voltage known as breakdown voltage. So this horizontal line here, it is independent of the applied voltage. After this breakdown voltage, there will be a sudden increase in the current. So these are the forward and reverse bias characteristics of a diode, PN junction diode. Next we shall see about rectification. Rectification means you are converting alternating voltage or alternating current into direct voltage or direct current. That means alternating is converted into direct. Alternating voltage or current is converted to direct voltage or direct current. This is called rectifier. And here we are going to see about two rectifiers, half wave rectifier and full wave rectifier. And in half wave rectifier, the circuit you are having transformer, PN junction diode and a resistor. We shall see the circuit, and only here one half of the input wave is rectified. So it is called half wave rectifier. Usually the PN junction diode acts as a rectifier diode, and we shall see what happens during the positive half cycle of AC and during the negative half cycle of AC. This is a circuit diagram for half wave rectifier. We are giving an AC input. This AC input is converted here into the DC VO, and here AC, you know, it is having both positive half cycle and negative half cycle, and the transformer here diode, and RL is the load resistor. You can get the voltage across the load resistor. Here we are going to see what happens during positive half cycle and negative half cycle of the AC. And during the positive half cycle, the terminal A will become positive and the terminal B will become negative, and the diode is forward biased during positive half cycle. and so you will get the waveform like this. That is a positive half cycle is for having this type, that is it is rectified. And what happens during the negative half cycle? So when the negative half cycle is of the signal passes through the circuit, that terminal A is negative with respect to terminal B. In such a case, you see this diagram. Now terminal A is negative, so the diode will not conduct. So now the diode is reverse biased. So here the diode is reverse biased and it will not conduct. So there is no voltage drop across RL during the negative half cycle of the AC supply. So when you see this diagram, there is no output during the negative half cycle and there is only output during positive half cycle, and you have half of the wave is rectified. So it is called half wave rectifier. And so here when you see the efficiency, here the voltage is pulsating in nature. Pulsating means it is like a pulse and not it is direct. You are not getting DC voltage, but you are getting a pulsating wave, and this can be rectified with the help of filter circuits and voltage regulator circuits. Now what is efficiency? Efficiency is the ratio of the output DC power to the AC input power supplied to the circuit. So you are getting the output as DC and the input as AC. So you are giving AC and you are getting DC. So the efficiency is output DC power to input AC power. And here power, you know, power is nothing but product of voltage and current. Power is the product of voltage and current. And next, full wave rectifier. In full wave rectifier, both the positive and negative half cycles are rectified. And you see when this diagram, graph, you see both the cycles are rectified. Both positive half cycle and negative half cycle. So it is called full wave rectifier. Here the difference is that you are having two diodes, D1 and D2, and you are having center tap in the transformer. So the usually M is positive with respect to C and N is negative with respect to C. The center tap is usually in zero potential. So the AC input is given here and you are getting VO, that is a DC, and RL is a load resistor, and this load resistor you can get the voltage across this load resistor. And so here it consists of two PN junction diodes, a center tap transformer and a load resistor. And what happens during positive half cycle? During positive half cycle, M is positive, C is at zero potential and N is negative potential. So this forward bias D1 and reverse bias is D2. So this current will flow M D1 A B C. So when you see here M D1 A B C, C is the center tap of the transformer. And we shall see what happens during negative half cycle. And during negative half cycle, the diode D1 is reversed biased and the D2 is forward biased. And here the current will change its direction now. The current is now along N D2 A B C. So here when you see this current is N D2 B A C, it will flow in the opposite direction. So both the half cycles are rectified here. And so here both the half cycles of the AC input are rectified and the output is but still pulsating in nature. And here the efficiency is 81.2%. The remaining is due to the power loss in the winding, diode and the load resistor. And next we are going to see about breakdown mechanism. So when you see the reverse characteristic, the reverse current or the reverse saturation current due to the minority charge carriers is very small. And when the reverse bias applied is increased beyond a certain value, the junction breaks down. So the breakdown happens, and so it depends upon the width of the depletion region, which in turn depends on the doping level. Doping means adding of impurities to the P-type and N-type. And so here beyond the certain voltage, the diode will break down. That is a complete damage to the diode will happen. And you can, but somehow the specially designed diodes like Zener diode can be operated in this region and can be used for the useful purpose. And now we shall see two types of breakdowns are there. One is called Zener breakdown, the other is called avalanche breakdown. And there are some differences between Zener breakdown and avalanche breakdown. Zener breakdown means it is heavily doped. Heavily doped means a large number of impurities are added. The depletion layer is very narrow of the order of less than 10 power minus 6 meter. And because of that, a very strong electric field is created, that is 3 into 10 power 7 volt per meter set up across the junction. So here a strong electric field is created. It will break or rupture the covalent bonds in the lattice, and so a large number of electron hole pairs are generated. This is called the Zener effect. And the increase in reverse voltage still produces more charge carriers. So this process of emission of electrons due to the rupture of covalent bonds in the lattice, that is in the lattice means in the semiconductor, due to the strong electric field is known as internal field emission or field ionization. But electric field required for this is 10 power 6 volt per meter. Such a very large potential is required for this breakdown to take place. And next we are going to see about avalanche breakdown. And there are differences between Zener breakdown and avalanche breakdown. And in avalanche breakdown it is lightly doped and wide depletion layer. And here the electric field is not so strong as in Zener breakdown. But there are thermally generated minority charge carriers that are accelerated by the electric field. And because of that they will gain kinetic energy and they collide with the semiconductor atoms. And here the main difference is collision takes place. Whereas in Zener diode there is no such collision takes place. And this collision results in the breaking up of covalent bonds generating electron hole pairs. And still these charge carriers are again accelerated by the electric field, resulting in more number of collisions. And so the cumulative process takes place again and again, and there will be avalanche of charge carriers. Avalanche means a very large, huge number of charge carriers are across the junction. And because of this, the reverse resistance is reduced and the diode current will increase sharply. So this is called avalanche breakdown. So there are differences between Zener breakdown and avalanche breakdown. The main difference is there is collision taking place inside the semiconductor. There is no such collision in the Zener breakdown. That's all, girls. Hope you understand.